Hello, my name is Teresa Salerno, and I'm going to be talking to you today about language impairment in this exceptionality video. Language impairment is a communication exceptionality as defined by the Identification Placement Review Committee, otherwise known as the IPRC. It involves delays in the mastery of language skills in children who have no hearing loss or other developmental delays. Language impairment is characterized by difficulties in language comprehension and/or the use of verbal, written, or other symbol forms of communication. This could directly affect the student's abilities in reading and writing. Depending on the severity, students can experience difficulties across the disciplines because language impairment affects communication, which is at the heart of all learning. Cause for referral will occur before or after a child has started school. In both cases, they can be directed to a speech and language pathologist who will do an assessment to determine the child's language capability. These types of assessments occur between the ages of 3 and 8 when language impairment is usually noticed. This, of course, depends on the severity of the condition. The speech-language pathologist will use assessment tools to determine the number of words in a student's vocabulary, quality of their spoken language, their word order, and will generally evaluate how well they construct their sentences. Depending on the time at which language impairment is first noticed, steps must be taken to determine how best to support the student. Communication between parents or guardians, teachers, and the support team will be essential in order to establish their specific language skills. Although the conditions of language impairment differ from student to student, early detection and proper referral can help improve a child's readiness for school and improve their learning experience. Language impairment can affect a student's academic performance in the areas of vocabulary development, the ability to listen to instructions and follow them, reading, decoding, and reading comprehension. Students with language impairment might also experience feelings of self-consciousness, anxiousness, confusion, and stress, which will make it even more difficult to communicate in a school setting. These students might also experience difficulties in collaborating or playing with others, especially if they are frustrated that they cannot understand and they are also misunderstood. If referred early, supports for language impaired students can help improve self-esteem and confidence, given that language competency affects so much of their daily lives. While these students may present with varying difficulties, the following strategies can be used in the classroom to support their learning. Some of the suggested strategies might already be in use by the teacher because they are creating an inclusive and accommodating learning environment for all. Some strategies that can be used include using tactile and visual cues to help students consolidate the full message of what is being said. The teacher can speak clearly and provide verbal clues as often as possible. They can use step-by-step directions, repeat details when necessary, and prompt the student to repeat information to ensure understanding. Another way to accommodate these students would be to allow more time for independent work, as well as in projects or collaborative assignments, and to be able to demonstrate their learning one-on-one in a conference-style setting. Some environmental accommodations include reducing classroom noise, being close to the student when giving instructions. This will help to ensure that they understand, as well as using visual reminders of the day's events, allowing for flexible seating and different areas for students to work. If the speech and language assessment results determine that technology would be a suitable tool for the student, it would be helpful to accommodate their learning. This would include devices to tape lessons, assistive hearing devices, computers to use voice-to-text or similar software to aid in comprehension. Some simple accommodations could include giving copies of class notes to students, making sure that you pre-teach vocabulary and other information before lessons, as well as working at a student's pace. Some modifications include reducing the length of assignments or modifying the time allotted for completion, allowing students to write tests privately, or giving them the option to present both orally and written, or allowing the students to present to a smaller group or teacher instead of the whole class. Each language impaired student will present differently depending on the severity of their condition, but teachers should strive to support the student based on their specific needs and seek out appropriate support to choose which strategies best fit the student.
Created using Powtoon.